All right. Thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. So subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell for notifications, upvote, comment, all of that good stuff. Remember, we're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Special guest here tonight with me and Pratt. We have Dayton Wade in the house. How you doing, Dayton?
It's good. I'm doing good. You?
I'm doing quite well. Anyway, let's just go ahead and start off back at the beginning. And you've had interviews and you kind of went viral after your first interview last fall that everybody kind of picked up on. But going from Atlanta to Western Kentucky to Ole Miss, just kind of describe that journey a little bit.
The journey was really unexpected. Like I never once did I think I was going to end up in Mississippi playing football, So like leaving off the college, going to Western Kentucky, I was having conversations with my mom, like, my family, like, I'm finna go do it at this school, you know what I'm saying? Turns out I couldn't get it done at that school, so a lot happened, you know what I'm saying? I said in my previous interviews, things that I went through and whatnot, so it just didn't happen at Western Kentucky, so I decided to hit the transfer portal, and this was before the transfer portal is what it is now. Like, it was kind of getting there, but it wasn't already there yet. Like, now it's like, okay, this how you want it, this how it's going to be. But, transfer portal, I was getting a lot of looks and whatnot, but it wasn't where I wanted to go. I was in my third year. I was like, I'm not trying to play around with, you know what I'm saying, wannabes. I want to play with the real guys who say, like, you know what I'm saying, where they say the real talent at. And then with the help of my friend, Jacob Pearson, he doing this thing now still. Shout out to him. With the help of him, he got me connected to Ole Miss, and I just decided to continue my football journey here. And to this day, my family still hasn't came out to a game yet. They've been waiting for the right, you know what I'm saying, time for it. So this year, they'll come out, have their first little Oxford experience, and I'm going to make sure they have the best experience out,
LSU game. Tell them to come to the LSU game.
Oh, yeah. I got to get back in LSU. I got a few LSU, Arkansas, Bama, really every loss we got to, but I got particular reasons why I want to play each team.
Well, Dayton, I've got a quick question for you. You kind of mentioned the transfer portal and how that impacted you from leaving Western Kentucky and heading to Ole Miss. What has been the biggest transition? You mentioned the best of the best in the SEC. What has been the biggest transition for you in the wide receiver room at Ole Miss? Typically, people would, I imagine, say SEC speed, but that's not a problem for a guy like you. You're fast.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what's kind of been a little bit that goes into that transition.
The only real transition I felt was like, I feel like people knew the game more in this conference. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't as much as like, okay, I'm just physically better than you. You got to know how to work them tools. If you don't know how to work them tools, you're not going to win. You know what I'm saying? That's when you play better competition and whatnot, and you get down to the fundamentals and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So that was really the thing that stood out to me. It was like, okay, it's a lot of technicians or a lot of people who trying to be technicians and whatnot, like really respect the game and whatnot in this league, you know what I'm saying? So that was really just the biggest change. It was always fast people in other conferences, big people in other conferences. And I've never been the biggest person ever, so like size, I don't even consider that because like that's never a thing for me. So
you make up for it in speed, man. Make up for it in speed.
It's just the wits, you know what I'm saying? The wits, they be saying 90% mental, 10% physical, and you be like, what? But then when you really start playing the game, you really start to understand what they mean with that.
Well, when you look talking about that 90% mental, what is it like when it always feels like they're trying to recruit your replacement? The transfer portal's always active. I mean, new receivers have come in. What is it somebody that is here and established? What is your mindset during that?
College football isn't going to be my last destination to play ball. And so I've been prepping for the league my whole life, mentally, like matchup wise and all. So that my approach to the game is different from the jump. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, when you get to the league, they're going to keep recruiting your replacement. They're going to keep trying to find somebody better. You keep trying it. So if you can't last in college, how you expect yourself to last in the league. That's my thought process of it, because that's just actuality. That's just life. But people don't want to look at it like that. But if you run from it, then, you know what I'm saying? My Coach Savage, shout out to him. He said today, like, a lot of people be front runners. Like, if you running from weights in the weight room, what you going to do in that All-American lineup in front of you and whatnot? You know what I'm saying? So it's all the same thing. Like, if you're just going to run from your troubles, they going to come and get you one day. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, yeah, whatever. It's part of the game. The game is the game.
Do you
Well,
think
Dayton, you mentioned heading to the league. Tell me a little bit about what it was like having a coach like Lane Kiffin, who's been there, done that in the NFL, and at a multitude of collegiate programs. I think that would be a really kind of eye-opening feeling to have Lane Kiffin in my DMs or texting me. What was that like? Tell me a little bit about the recruiting process from that perspective. I think that would be incredible.
The first time I talked to Kiffin was probably spring ball. Like, I ain't even talked to him in my recruiting process. Like, I just straight walked on. I was talking to the Coach Nix and Coach Heath Dito. I was just really communicating with them, and then Coach Nix gave me the go, like, hey, I got you a spot to walk on. I was like, cool, I'm taking it, and that was it. And since then, I just took it like, shit, I'm just glad to be here. You know what I'm saying? So I had to really earn a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Because that's really how it is. Like, that people don't like how it is. Like, you can't, if you're not bringing no value or anything of no value, like, and you running like a organization, a real like business, you can't really. It's impossible to know everybody and keep up with everybody when you got bigger things going on. You know what I'm saying? It's no disrespect or anything. It's just like literally impossible. You know what I'm saying? So I had to get myself on the radar to even have a conversation with him. And it wasn't even nothing like, no, like, oh yeah, hey, I'm XYZ. It was like, okay, we know who each other are, but it was like a joke, like, hey, I don't remember it exactly, but I just remember like, oh, it was a mutual, like, oh yeah, it wasn't no forced relationship. Like, it wasn't a forced relationship. It was like, okay, yeah, all right, this now we, you know what I'm saying, we clicking, we getting to understand each other, we know each other. Now I can pick up the phone, call them, text them, and hey, I call them like, hey man, we got lockers locked, the food locked up. We trying to get extra work. We need nutrition. You know
I love
we
that.
having conversations like that now. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how it was. He's a great dude. I really love him. Like, and then the you could tell the NFL in him, because that's how he runs his organization. You know what I'm saying? When it comes down to really everything, so our schedule, how we practice. They said we said our lives. One of our mottos: practice like pros. Like, we really do, like down to the T. Recovery, nutrition, everything we try to do, we try to set us up for the next level. You know what I'm saying? It's not no like, oh yeah, this is what we doing in college. Like, nah, we trying to prepare you for the next level, and they really stand on that.
You hear the term that as one of the tenets in the Lane Kiffin program at Ole Miss, pro mindset. Do you think you embody pro mindset more than most people because of what you've had to go through?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like, I'm glad you seen that, because I really had to. Because if I didn't, then I feel like I wouldn't. There's no way I would be in the position I was in, because, like you said, you got to earn your stripes and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? I came in, ain't nobody knows not a thing about me. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, okay, he's somebody we could depend on. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's different. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is different. So that pro mindset, I definitely glad I adapted that and really bought in on it. You know what I'm saying? Because that definitely benefited me.
Yeah, no doubt. That's awesome. Well, tell me a little bit about Dayton. Tell me a little bit about kind of what the transfer portal looks like after you commit to Ole Miss and after you show up. I imagine it is just a absolute crazy week or two moving in. Kind of walk me through our process. Remind me, were you even on campus beforehand? How does all that look with the transfer portal? It's such a tight timeline. I can't imagine trying to get my entire life together in such a shortened period. Highlight that a little bit if you don't mind.
My coach Coach Nix, he can summarize the like from a player's standpoint, because I really what I did was I had to take my feelings out of it. You know what I'm saying? Because as a person, you know what you're capable of, you know what you can do, you know what I'm saying, all of that. But I came in as a walk-on. I wasn't on campus. I wasn't doing anything. I actually was deciding between walking on at South Carolina or walking on at Ole Miss. But PG just convinced me so good to go to Ole Miss, and it just made so much sense. I was like, all right, I got to do it. So I think it was literally like 2-3 days before I was on the phone with Coach Nix, and when he told me I was good, like he had a spot for me, I was like, all right, bet, I'm there. And then I pulled up. I think I was probably like 2 days late to OTAs or
Oh
whatnot.
my gosh.
Yeah,
That is
like it wasn't
crazy.
because I ain't even have my paperwork. I ain't have like you gotta get a physical. You gotta get your insurance. You gotta do all that. So it was gonna be a wait anyway. Then I had to get registered for classes, and I never walked. Like I was on scholarship at my other school, so I ain't know how to pull out a loan. I ain't know how to do any of that. You know what I'm saying? So like I had to do all that just to make sure I could even get on, like get even into school. And then finally when I get into school, a lot of my credits ain't transferred, so I really had to play catch up when it came to school to get my credits back, which I ended up doing. So people don't even know the education side that I had to do just so I can even be eligible in the fall. But I made it happen. We made it happen. As far as like, you know, we was real hyped up. That's when we first got to come to the SIP thing, and it became real big. So I think we was like during the season. Texas A&M was my first game start, and my coach, he kind of before we went out there, you know, I'm treating like like I said, I took my emotions out of it. I'm just out here. I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun. I'm doing what I can. You know what I'm saying? So Texas A&M, my first game starting. Before we go to the field, he pulled me to the side. He like, hey, he really just break down like my journey. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't even looking at it. I'm too busy doing it. You know what I'm saying? I'm on a road, so of course, from the outside looking in, you can see more of what that person is doing from you being on the inside and actually doing those actions. But he explained it to me. He was like, yeah, I know you probably like sick because they doing all these promos and hypes for the transfers and all this. Woo, woo. He like, well, I feel like I know you feel like I'm supposed to be on the transfer. I'm supposed to be in the video, da, 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 and I'm just laughing. And I'm like, dang, I ain't even think of it like that or see it like that. For him to bring it to my light and see it, I'm like, dang, that's crazy. So, like, that's why me and Coach Nix, we going to be close for a lifetime. Like, we really got a real close bond. Like, he really sat down, like, man, like, embodied me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, took me for everything me. I came in, I told him what I wanted to do. He really took note, and he like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like you really doing it, like you know what I'm saying? I like Coach Nix. He's pretty cool. He's a cool dude. But yeah, it
Okay.
was just crazy. I was just there. It wasn't nothing. I was just there.
All right, let's change gears a little bit and talk about this year's team, this season coming up. How are throwing drills happening? Are they happening in the summer, and who's leading them?
Oh, we have a lot of private workouts. You know what I'm saying? But just on some more of us being teammates and nobody telling us what to do. This is what we want. Like we got our own goals. Like forget what the coaches not forget what the coaches want. Like forget the coaches goal, but like like we trying to. You know what I'm saying? Like. It's things we want to do as an individual, and we understand that we need each other, so we gotta all be on the same accord in order for the things to work. So like we real tight. Like we'll go out to eat. We be at dark crib. We been watching the finals. We get order food. Be chilling at his crib. We'll throw late. You know what I'm saying? Just it might be like the other day I was bored. We went doing literally yesterday Sunday like. It's Sunday. We ain't really doing nothing. I'm like, I hit the group chat like, hey, y'all trying to catch some jugs? You know what I'm saying? Hey, well, guess what we did? We went to the field. We caught some jugs. You know what I'm saying? So we just do things like that. We just we really not getting into the mix of things. We ain't gonna start like anything team orchestrated until like we come back for like the fall and whatnot. But everything else is just really private. You know what I'm saying? Us just being teammates, looking out for each other, trying to accomplish this one goal. We all got the same goal. That's why Kiffin keep recruiting, because it's like you can't say or be claim to be about these things if you're not really providing and doing those things. Like the players that's why we recruit so heavy. You got to keep bringing in better players, because like if you keep the same level of players or the same level of competition just because you like someone or something like that, you can't really win like that. You got to really bring with the competition. You got to play with the competition. You know what I'm saying? So you got to bring in competition. That's why we don't really mind the transfer portal. Like if it's up to me, bring all the best players. You know what I'm saying? So we can fight out, see who the best, and then play like that. You know what I'm saying? We really be deep. We ain't got to worry about injuries or who gonna last the whole season, stuff like that. We straight. We ain't gotta put too much workload on one person or nothing like that. We all together. So yeah.
Well, I like that. Yeah, I like that kind of depth mentality, like you said, Dayton. That's a very mature attitude. Last thing I've really got for you, Dayton. Tell us a little bit about what you're going through in school. What's your major? Kind of give me a personal synopsis of Dayton Wade, real quick.
Well, previously, my major at my old school was interdisciplinary studies, and it's basically where you can just like pick and you pick your own course, your own pathway, and then like. So when I transferred, they basically upgraded it to multi-interdisciplinary studies, which is basically the same thing, but my pathway is more so business management and sport management and child care. So like child education, not child care, child education. So it's like the child education is really interesting because like what people don't know is you kind of set out a child's future when it's young, like when it's at its youngest, you know what I'm saying? Like, so for example, so I can be quick, like if you talk to a baby and you Google Gaga the baby all the time, the baby only gonna know Google Gaga. But if you talk to the baby like how we talking to each other, when the baby start talking, that's how it's gonna know how to talk. It's not gonna do all the choppy words and stuff like that. Another example: toddlers when they're young, they usually only hear the last word. Like they really understand the last two or three words of a phrase. You know what I'm saying? So like you know how you be repeating something to a toddler and then you eventually end up just saying that right there or that, and then when you do it like that, they'll understand because it's like their brain ain't fully developed or all that, so they can't really, you know what I'm saying, put it all together in one go down. We can do bits and pieces. But yeah, so yeah, I've been doing that. And then with the business management, I've been doing marketing and whatnot. My brother, he does music and he has a album. I mean, not an album, a record label. He does have an album and whatnot, but he has a record label. And I just plan on using my knowledge from the marketing and whatnot to boost his record label and push his career. So 2 birds, 1 stone.
All right. Change the subject. We're going to do a little bit of quick hit things. You're from Atlanta. Are you an Atlanta Braves fan? And how bad are they going to beat my Detroit Tigers this week?
I'm a diehard fan, but I can't say how good we are because I haven't been watching no games. But of course, I'm going to say we're going to beat the brakes off y'all just because I'm a fan, you know?
We haven't won in June. Our best player got hurt and we just quit winning. So this month has been. Yeah, so
and the Braves, we always start off hot. So you might catch us. You might have to get you one.
All right, are you a Falcons fan?
Yeah, I'm repping the whole, you know what I'm saying? I gotta rep the crib. Even though we ain't recovered since Brady did us the way he did us, I still gotta rock for the whole team. So,
yeah, I'm a Saints fan, and obviously one of Ole Miss's greatest alumni in the football program, he might have been around that building at some point, is Deuce McAllister, and he's a Saints legend. You met Deuce?
Nah, I never met him.
Oh.
I know who he is, though. I ain't never met him like personally.
Yeah, I think he's the color guy for the Saints broadcast, so he's probably not around very much. I think he does some SEC network type stuff, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm probably run into him. I plan on being an Ole Miss legend.
So, okay, before you get out of here, I don't know the coach's name, but I believe he was your offensive coordinator at Western Kentucky.
Is that Kinley or Brian Ellis?
Kinley, the one that's at Texas Tech. So we were before the Texas Bowl. What kind of insight did you try to give to the defense? Did you try to interject that? It's like, hey, this is what this offense looks like. What did you do there?
I told them, I was like, man, Zach Kitley gonna put up some points. Like, he know his stuff. Like, that's one thing I learned. Like, I actually learned a great amount of ball from playing with him and his offense and whatnot. It's a high tempo just like us, and they run a lot of intermediate, quick game, RPO. Like, it ain't even like, oh, yeah, you can – just how you stop them. It's just like, hey, we got to last. You know what I'm saying? Because he's such a great offensive mind. Like, even if you scheme something up, he going to scheme something up too. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, hey, man, y'all do the best y'all can. You know? And they had some freak receivers. They had like a 6'5" receiver and 6'4" receiver. Like, they were keen out there. But I feel like they did their best. You know what I'm saying? We could have did better offensively. You know what I'm saying? Coach Kiffin, he still hold the fumble over my head to this day, and I accept it. I told him he ain't gonna never see it from me again. But yeah, yeah, that kid, he cool.
Okay, I'm about to give you a little rat poison, so I apologize to Coach Kiffin and all the fans. I'm gonna do a little rat poison here. The Phil Steele 2023 preview is out. 3 out of Ole Miss's 4 offensive units are ranked nationally in the top 10. The one that is not is the wide receiver unit. It is number 19. What do you have to say about that?
I'm number 19, so I'm gonna have the biggest impact on that. And we can leave
Love
it at
that.
And if we stay at 19 after that, then hey, but that ain't happening.
All right. Thank you, Dayton. And thanks to everybody for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast their first listen every day. Every dayers. Tomorrow on the show, we will continue to preview what could be an extremely exciting Ole Miss football season, especially with players like Dayton Wade running around in the secondary and making plays. Anyway, thank you very much, Dayton. Thank you, Pratt, for stopping by. And I hope y'all have I hope everything's like safe journeys or whatever. I don't even know what to say.
Go ball out, Dayton. Thanks, buddy.
For sure.